Hi, and welcome back to my SwiftUI video. In this video, I'll be talking about TipKit. So TipKit is a brand new framework, an Apple native framework in iOS 17, which was announced in WWDC 2023. And what it does is that it allows you to show tips for your UI elements to the users, so the user can understand what certain functions do. So why is this so important? Well, I will show this by using my recently developed apps, that allows you to connect to your Mastodon, Misskey, Firefish, and Bluesky instances all at once within one application. So this is not an ad because I'm just showing you how this feature works. So this is the app I designed. It's solely in SwiftUI. So basically, this is my app's profile view, which is a SwiftUI list, as you can see here. This is a section. So on the top there, I have a button here. So one is a clock and one is a share. So as you know, the share button is definitely for sharing the profiles. But let me ask you, without touching this clock button, do you know what it does? I'll give you 5 seconds to guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And a lot of people probably don't understand what this button does, and this is a problem in my app because I think nobody tried this feature before. This feature is actually for sorting how the posts are displayed within a timeline. So if you tap it, oh wow, this is an important feature. You can select whether to sort it using an algorithm or activities or your interest scores or post times. So this is a very good feature, but nobody's gonna discover it if you just have an icon here. Nobody's gonna know what it does. So let me show you what TipKit looks like. So for example, in the case that I talked about just now, what if I can show a tip when the view appears for the first time? So it can show, hey, this is the button to send a quick response and what it does. And when the user click on the X button and when I open the view for the second time, this tip won't show. So it only shows for the first time. So now the user understands what this button does. And this is exactly why you should incorporate TipKit within your application so you can maintain a simplified design while the user understands what each element does within your application. So, I think that's good because I introduced what this video does and also advertised my application, which I'll talk about later. All right, so let's go back to the topic. So today we'll talk about how to initialize a tip object. So you will define a title, message, etc. Also, you can define the rule for whether the tip should be shown or not. So for example, you only want to show the tip to a pro user. We also, of course, have the usage based. So this tip is only shown if the user has used certain features of an app for certain amount of times. Also, of course, tips with buttons because we love buttons on the UIs. All right. So I do have a reset tips DB button here. I just want to make sure I understand this is for debugging only. So basically, this resets the count maintained by TipKit for how many times the tip is shown. So I can show you a tip over and over again. So it's just for demonstration purposes. All right, let's get started with the Xcode version, which is very important because you need to have the same setup. So I'm using Xcode version 15, as you can download from the App Store right now. It's not a beta version, so I'm okay to record and share this video to you. So now I will talk about how to initialize a tip object. So basically here, we have a struct that conforms to the tip. So we need to import TipKit framework, of course, and the only necessary variable is the title. So we need to override the title. So the title is what is displayed at the top of this tip. As you can see here, send a quick response, send a quick response. Now, I can also provide an optional message. This message is going to be displayed at the bottom of this title. And of course, we have an image, which could be an SF symbol image, which is displayed at the left of this tip or right, so it depends on the system configuration. So do notice that these has to be using the exact same name and exact same type, and also the question mark, because this is basically overwriting what is within this tip object. So even if I remove this question mark, this image will not be displayed. So make sure you use this exact same identifier for your variable naming. So just write variable image and the image question mark optional image, and then write this, and then your image will show within the tip. This is basically how you define your tip. Now this is the view code to show the tip as shown in the simulator. So you import TipKit first, and then you can put your button and the tip view within an H-stack. So basically, as you can see here, my tip view is on the left side, and the image of the member is on the right side. Now, what I need to do is I import TipKit first. I have a tip view, and then I initialize the tip struct I just defined right over here. So I initialize the struct, and then I define arrow edge. So arrow edge is where this arrow is pointing to. So trailing is on the right side. So as you can see, because I'm demonstrating a feature on the right side, I will point to that button, which is a number button. So I will use the trailing arrow edge. Of course, you can change it to top, bottom, leading, or trailing. All right. So this is very simple. This is basically how you show a tip, inline tip. So do notice that you need to run this code once within your application to define the display frequency and data store location. The typical place to put this is within your maybe in your SwiftUI min app. So you just need to run this once, or in your content view. So basically you just can copy and paste this code. So display frequency by default use immediate. So basically the system can show many tips. So if you have two features and two tips, the system will show the tips immediately when the view is shown, when the view is open. If you set it to hourly, the system only shows one tip per hour. Make sure it doesn't show more than one tip per hour. So if you set it to daily, no more than one tip per day. So this is basically, if you don't want so many tips to show up in your app at once, you want the tips to show up on different days, you can use this feature. But typically we just will set it to immediate, so it will show immediately when the view appears. Database store location, we use application default. You can also define a group container or a URL for storage location, but usually you set this to the default. So I'm also showing you the popover tip. So as you can see, this is a popover tip. So if I go over here, it's very simple. So popover tip is basically a view modifier called popover tip, and you can initialize this tip object using a variable, and then you just attach this to any elements. For example, here I'm attaching it to a toolbar item, so you will notice it will show on the top right corner. So what's interesting here is that you can also invalidate the tip. So what does this mean is if I tap on this button, not this X mark, if I tap on this button here, the tip also disappears. The tip also get dismissed. That's because I invalidated automatically when a user action is performed. So this is used if you want to hide the tip manually. So for example, if the user already clicks on the feature you are displaying the tip on, you can just close the tip because the user already does what you want to instruct them to do. So you can invalidate a tip by putting the tip in a variable and call it invalidate with the reason action performed. And then this popover tip view modifier will show the tip as a popover for the defined element. All right, so let me show you a few more examples. We can show a tip popover tip within a list. So this is the same as we can define a popover tip right here, right? Now, using this rules array, we can achieve a thing that is, if a feature is only available for premium users, what you can do is you can only show the tip if the premium user is set for this struct. So all we need to do is we can just use same Swift micro here, self dot is binding is premium user is true. So, and then we define a static variable here for this struct. So we can save this using premium user only tip. So this tip object, and then dot is premium user. So I'll just open up my productivity mode again. So all right, so as you can see, this is a static variable, so we can say premium user only tip is premium user equal to true or false. And what this is gonna do is that it will be reflected to the root here, and this tip are not shown when depending on what you set here. We also have a usage frequency based tip. Of course, we also have this rules array. There is also an event object that is included in the TipKit. So this records the event that happened with your app. So for example, if the user has opened your app for how many times, like 3 times, 4 times, this is exactly where it can hold this. So the way you can increment this counter is by calling the donate function. So what you can do is, as you can see, the number of time open. So I will open my productivity mode right here. So event is a static variable for event with a unique ID. So for example, number of time open, and right here I can call donate function for this event. What this does is that TipKit will remember how many times you call this donate function, right? It keeps a count of this event, and then within the rules of this tip, what you can do is you can read the count by donations count. So as you can immediately notice, if you have a feature where you ask for user for review after 10 launches or 20 launches, you can actually use this event within the TipKit to record that. So you can donate if this event happened, and then you can read the count. All right, so one more thing about TipKit is that you can provide some options. So what you can do is you can use this actions array, and you can define an array of actions. So for example, you can have the learn more, and then you can have the title, and you can perform something when this button is tapped. So this is exactly the same code when we include it in our view, and it looks like this. So you will have 2 buttons, and if I click the button right here, as you can see, it just print out or performs whatever action I want it to perform. All right, so that's basically TipKit. It's very simple. So you define a tip object, a tip struct, and then you will either display it inline using the tip view, or you can display it as a popover by using the popover tip view modifier. Now, and also as I talk about, you can use the rules array to define when the tips will be showing. You can also add options to the tip. Now, there are several debug options right here for you to debug, because as you know, once the tip is showing, it won't be showing again on an actual device. So you have the reset data store. What it does is it resets the entire database for how many times a tip is shown. So this is basically resets to an initial state for retesting the rules and eligibility. You have the show all tips for testing, which will disregard your defined display frequency and just shows all the tips. You can show a specific tip, you can hide all tips, or you can hide a specific tip for testing. So that's essentially TipKit. Now I do want to inform you that there might be some issues when you test it within a simulator. So I do suggest you to test this on actual device. I'm actually showing the actual code for my SNS app, Solar SNS, which helps you connect almost all the Fediverse instances on your phone. So Mastodon plus Firefish plus Bluesky plus Misskey all in one app. So this is a tip I actually use in my application. As you can see, I want my app to also be compatible with previous versions of the iOS system. So first thing I did is I marked this as add available available iOS 17. So make sure this tip is only available for iOS 17 system. Also, I see if can import. So basically, if TipKit framework doesn't exist, I just don't import it. Notice that how in the options you can also define a max display count. This means that this tip will only be shown for a maximum of one time. So after it has been shown for more than one time, this tip won't be shown again, so only be shown for one time. So by the way, so if the user clicks on the X mark on the tip, it will automatically dismiss it. So this means if the user doesn't click on the X button to actively dismiss a tip, it will be shown for more than one time. So if the user ignores a tip, it will not be shown anymore. All right. So basically we add this. Now you might be wondering, like, how do I use the view modifier? So this is what I did. There might be better solutions, but I created an extension of the SwiftUI view, and I had a custom view modifier called show composer plus icon tip. So this will, if run on iOS 17, it will attach the Popover tip view modifier. But if run on other system versions, it will just return the view itself. So this is exactly how you can show the Popover tip only on the newest iOS 17 system. Now, it's very simple if you want to show this tip, for example, within your view for only iOS 17. So what you can do is I'm actually just showing you the code for my app right now. So you are seeing the source code. It's just a tiny bit, I'm gonna say. All right, so as you can see here, this is the actual code that helps you to display the tip. So as you can see, if it's available at 17, you show this two tip views, so fit sorting tip, and so this is exactly how you can make it backward compatible. By the way, this is part of the view that shows the timeline. So yeah, just showing some actual code for my app for this demonstration. Now, at the end of the video, what I want to do is I want to show you an app I recently published this month that is made using SwiftUI. So it's basically an app that connects Mastodon, Misskey, Firefish, and Bluesky all in one app, and basically supports like a threaded post composer. It contains like notifications, as you can see here. It has a beautiful post display. It even uses algorithms to rank your post, and this is entirely made using SwiftUI. So this is using SwiftUI chart. This is a basically, I think it's a padding with a rounded rectangle as the background. This is an H stack, so this is centered. Now these buttons, this is an image with a text, and this is wrapped with an H stack. And you can see here, oh, this one is an overlay. Of course, if you want to display it at the bottom, you can use a safe area view modifier. Now these are just, or this is the tab view, and what other features? Oh, this is a label. This is a V stack with a padding and a rounded rectangle corner with a quarter radius. This is a toolbar, and yeah, so basically these are all designed with basic elements, but using SwiftUI makes so much easier to develop. So if you follow me and subscribe me on the YouTube here, also please do follow me on other platforms. So for example, do follow me on Mastodon here. You can search for @me@msapro.com. Please also do follow me on Twitter, which is @msapro. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be publishing more in the upcoming days. Thank you very much.